Hello, everyone. Like Haley mentioned, my name is Lindsay, and I've had the privilege of serving as the team lead for the Agile product design team this semester. It has been such an incredible experience working with this talented group and watching each of them bring their diverse experiences and knowledge to the problem that we've tackled over the last several months. Teresa became our resident financial expert this semester while also allowing us to tap into the fruits of her long nights in the electronics lab. Javier was an endless and perpetual source of ideas, sometimes generating visual designs before we had even finished brainstorming a particular design feature. Veli always brought a great attitude to our late night meetings and occasionally a colorful Barcelona shirt. And Dan's energetic children kept meetings exciting and also kept our project focus front and center. This team has made such incredible progress since we first met each other back in August, and I'm so excited to let each of them share the work that we have accomplished since then. Without further ado, I will pass it off to Veli to get us started.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Veli, just like Lindsay said. With me, I have Teresa, Dan, Javier, and Lindsay as well. Together, we're the ClassMate team. This year, about 130 educational institutions were forced to restructure in just a short period of time because of COVID-19. This led to 56.4 million students nationwide not being able to interact with their teachers effectively. So we came up with a solution called ClassMate. ClassMate is an interactive camera that will make it easy for the students to ask and respond to teachers' questions and vice versa. ClassMate will also help the teacher to see what the students are working on during an in-class assignment, allowing the teacher to give real-time feedback to the students. It is also worth mentioning that last week, our idea got an award of 750 in the OU Entrepreneurship Expo for its outstanding features and contribution to the remote learning world we are living in. ClassMate will be integrating a market of 2.67 billion US dollars and will be able to make a profit of 4.77 million US dollars within its first 5 years. To understand the problem that the teachers are having with their students during remote learning, we interviewed a total of 26 teachers and parents. The teachers indicated that in-class assignments are as important as take-home assignments, if not more. But now these teachers have to switch to CISO, which is one of the learning platforms. And CISO is very complicated and it eliminates the ability for the teacher to give real-time feedback to the students. With the CISO platform, teachers are unable to see what the students are writing or doing in an in-class activity. And the teachers that we interviewed, they said it now takes an average of 24 hours to give feedback to their students on an assigned in-class assignment. And this compared to 1 hour just before when classes were in person. This is a problem because these feedbacks are a huge part in rating whether the students understood the concept that you just explained or not. So the faster you give your students feedback, the more informed you will be in your class performance. But now these teachers have to switch to CISO, and they say that the students upload pictures on CISO, and these pictures are not of a very good quality, which makes them harder to evaluate assignments and causing them to spend more time on just one paper. As I talked to Dana, a K-5 teacher who teaches in Norman Public School, she expressed her frustration by saying, and I quote, "My students upload pictures on CISO and that is a very slow process. So ClassMate can definitely be helpful in my class routine." With that being said, I'll pass it over to Javier, who's going to talk to you guys more about ClassMate.
As a solution to our problem, we propose ClassMate, an accessible, low-tech, hand-focused camera that allows manual physical tasks to be part of remote education. ClassMate will allow students and teachers to show their work to the rest of the class in real time, allowing better communications regarding step-by-step processes, such as drawing, kindergarten craft, or handwritten notes. ClassMate would make a significant difference in the remote educational context by reducing the limitations that teachers and students face in the online learning environment. Our device would serve as a document camera, a desk lamp, and a Zoom interactive panel that students and teachers can use in and out of class to share content remotely. After building our first prototype, we were able to determine the dimensions and physical functioning of our product. We are now focusing on identifying suitable materials, incorporating the electrical and software components, and producing a second prototype. We want to take advantage of products our users are already familiar with. For that reason, we think the ClassMate should have similar dimensions and physical functioning to a desk lamp, and that the interactive panel should be similar to a TV remote control. We also anticipate the ClassMate should be built with durable materials so it is suitable for children, and that elements like the webcam should be easily replaceable. Our most recent prototype iteration is developing to suit the needs of physical development and future manufacturing. The arm, for example, must have enough flexibility to allow the camera and lamp to be focused on different angles, but it must also remain simple in order to keep costs low. The base needs to be of an appropriate size to have the panel without taking too much space on the table, and also keep the ClassMate standing if the camera is moved away from the center of mass. Now, my teammate Teresa will tell you more about the internal functioning of the ClassMate.
So the circuitry for ClassMate is in the works, enabling direct compatibility with Zoom especially. As shown here, we have made a lot of progress, not only on the exterior of ClassMate, but on the interior as well. To get ClassMate functioning, ClassMate will use a programmed microcontroller as shown in the designated box of the slide that will perform all of the functions such as the camera, lights, and actions of Zoom or Google Classroom by use of code enabling the microcontroller connecting to a device's drivers and performing the actions from there. And with ClassMate having been explained, we could reach a market opportunity of $2.67 billion in both households and school districts combined, there being a greater focus on school distribution. Reaching what is just approximately 2% of the total available market is possible, as educational technologies for 5 to 12-year-olds have had a 5% global growth. Additionally, a survey of approximately 1,200 school faculty has stated that 82% favor methods that combine tech with traditional resources and teaching methods, the most of which is what ClassMate does. In fact, one of the teachers I interviewed, Helen Neal of Tecumseh Public Schools, stated that if the ClassMate is affordable and allows her students to show their work to her during class, she would buy it. Now, I'll pass it off to Dan, who will talk about our competitors and business model.
ClassMate has a lot of interest competitions from school-centric products. And our focus, however, will be in the input-output devices for text and video, since this is where our problem majorly lies. These typically are document cameras and Osmo, a product that is relatively new in the EdTech market. Another competitor worth mentioning is pen and paper. Students, especially pre-K through third grade, use pen and paper to do activities, take a picture of the activity, and then send the picture to the teacher via a platform like CISO, like Bailey mentioned earlier. While in virtual class, students also write on paper and hold the paper up against the camera to show the teacher what they're working on. For our analysis, we try to mainly focus on those products that are tailored for children. And it is important to note that these are generalizations and were made with considerations given for the best product while taking into account all the categories that they were rated against. As shown here in the graph, document cameras currently in market are rated really poorly in most areas and only rated high for ergonomics since there's not much interactions with them. Osmo rated equally poorly in most categories. It is, however, designed with the child in mind, so it is very child-friendly and fairly adaptable to learning. It has a camera feature and design blocks that is built to accompany it. Students perform activities and the app will mirror the activity of a camera and respond appropriately if the student gets it right or wrong. A few schools employ Osmo currently in their learning. However, it is very expensive and works only with select Amazon tablets and iPads, which makes it a far reach for most students. ClassMate is designed to be child-friendly, affordable, cleanable, aesthetically pleasing, and most importantly, adaptable for education on any platform. Our business model is driven by input from parents, teachers, and school administrators. However, when we get a satisfaction grade of 90% or better from them, we will file a disclosure with the OU/OTC and who will help with the patenting assignment of ClassMate to a company. To bring the products up to a utility patent will cost about $18 per unit. A utility patent will cost approximately $2,070, assuming attorney fees of $1,000 and utility patent fees of $1,070. Once you get a utility patent, we will assign ClassMate to a company who will produce and sell it to students. And from this, based on 20,000 units produced at $2 per unit labor cost, we project that it will cost about $23 per unit to produce ClassMate. Assuming 16% shipping, handling, marketing fees, and a further 8% fulfillment fees, it will cost about $28 to bring ClassMate to the consumer directly through online sales on a platform like Amazon. And based on these values I just discussed, we can sell ClassMate at $40 directly to the consumer for a 43% profit margin. Another route of sales would be through school administrators directly. And this we would sell at a discounted price since they would be buying in bulk. And we are currently, we do not anticipate this to affect our profit margin that much. We are currently looking into VTech as a company to sell the patents to, among other companies. Teresa will now talk to you more about the market and our next steps.
ClassMate could generate approximately $4.77 million profit within the first 5 years, with the following 5 assumptions. 1, the current pandemic continues to be in play within these next 5 years, of which research so far has shown that this is sadly a real possibility. 2, we received the US Small Business Innovation Research Grant as we would qualify as a small business. 3, we sell the ClassMate at approximately $38 per unit, given plus or minus $10 range. 4, we initially focus only in the US market. And last but not least, 5, we succeed in pilot testing, which all of this leads us to our first year, where year 1 and year 2 are dedicated for prototyping and research, as well as forming connections with local school districts to get a jump start in ClassMate. During year 2 specifically, there will be a focus in demonstrating ClassMate's feasibility and success through pilot tests, of which at the end of year 2 or at the start of year 3 is ideally where we, or really the University of Oklahoma, would have the patent assigned to a company like VTech and begin our official distribution from there. So in terms of our next steps, we will be focused on further improving our prototype, work on patenting and solidifying our small business, where we will now finalize patent procedures with OTC, then we'll apply to become an official certified small business under the SBA. So then we can apply for SBIR funding of at least $1.2 million. Once we receive the funds, we can apply it towards networking with schools and having ClassMate be pilot tested in classrooms. So we'll soon have definitive results to assign our patent to a company such as VTech for greater distribution. Thank you, and we will now open the floor for questions.
Hi there. Do you envision this being a product that appears on like school lists, like when you have to go buy items for a classroom, or is this something that, at least in the first couple of years, is more limited?
So with our main target for distribution, it's not so much how aiming towards parents buying the product. It's aimed towards discussing and networking with school administrators to distribute the ClassMate, as we have interviewed school superintendents as well as teachers and parents, and we found that schools vary a ton by how they choose to distribute their technology. Some of the schools, the bigger school districts, what I found is that the superintendent says that the teachers and parents will have a PTA meeting and discuss and decide as a whole to distribute the ClassMate, as well as some teachers get credit cards to choose to buy a product like the ClassMate. And so in our focus, we're focused on school administrative distribution instead of back to school buying for parents.